Welcome to Evergreen Speedway, playing host to round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is deemed the AutoZone Throwdown, presented by Rain-X, the battle in Seattle. Joining you once again after almost a month hiatus, I'm Jared Dean. Joining me once again, Ryan Sage. Ryan, great to see you again. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been about a month, and the championship is chugging along. We hit the halfway point in the season, but we have seen a lot of things happen in the first half that have made the series and the championship very exciting.
Most recently in New Jersey, as you said, just about a month ago, we saw an all Falcon Tires podium sweep with James Dean grabbing the win. That means in the top 6 drivers, every driver has had a win so far, with Osbo kicking things off, Chris Forsberg winning Orlando, Christoph Blush, he gets his first ever win there in Atlanta, and then again, New Jersey, James Dean. So, but some phenomenal driving, and just the caliber of vehicles, the driving is just peaking.
Yeah, I think the story of the season so far has been there's no real dominant driver like we saw last year. James Dean, the story was all about him. Osbo kind of caught him, and it was really close there towards the end, but ultimately James got the championship. This year, James had to fight to get up to that first place spot, which is where he's at right now. But along the way, Forsberg has been charging back up. He had, with that win in Orlando, we obviously saw Christoph Blush, and we've seen all the other drivers keep their game super high, so we have a very competitive championship.
Coming into Seattle, this event and this track, just you really got to bring all your tools to this battle in Seattle, because and truth be told, all these drivers, they've still been driving even though they haven't been competing in FD. They got a lot of seat time. They've had time to work on their cars, so you have to think the cars are fresh, drivers are rested, but they have had some seat time. So what's going to unfold here is going to be one heck of a battle.
Yeah, and now as we've past that midway point in the season, the points are very meaningful. Drivers are going to be looking at every single qualifying point and every single championship point that they get to try to find themselves into this top 10 standings.
Let's take a look at the standings here. As you said, James Dean 313, right behind him. Frederick Osbo only 17 points behind. Remember, a win is 100 points. Chris Forsberg, Peter Visick with the 1-2 Wordhouse Drift team, the 2 and 4 position. Justin Pollock, he's the only driver in top 5 that does not have a win, but he is looking like he is into the getting the win form.
Well, and Christoph Blush with that win at Road Atlanta really solidified himself as somebody to watch for. Forrest Wang in 7th, Odie Bachis in 8th, Matt Field in 9th, and rounding out our top 10 is Ryan Turk.
There's your standings. When we come back, we'll bring in another member of our broadcast team, and that is one of the Formula Drift judges, Ryan Lantain.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lantain, also the 3rd member of our commentary team. Now, Ryan, it's been about a month since our last competition, so let's get right into it and talk about today's format.
Today's format is qualifying. Each driver is going to get 2 individual runs, so they're not going to be back-to-back. We're going to score those runs based on line, angle, and style, and they will then get positioned based on their qualifying positions into the 10 battle ladder for tomorrow.
One of the things that's been really helpful for me, and I'm sure it'll be helpful for the hardcore and even the casual fan, is how you guys have laid out each track and the corresponding map. So let's get into that.
Looking at the map, anywhere that's this kind of greenish color will be judged in style. Anywhere that is yellow is going to be judged line and angle. So if you see here all the way around outside zone 1, the cars should be really high and wide on that bank. Then they come out to the touch and go area. Now they only have to get out to that area in one particular little spot within that whole area there, so they don't have to fill it. Then they transition and they come up to outside zone 2. They have interclip 1, interclip 2, and then they should finish wide at the finish line.
Now, one of the things that you guys have implemented this year is the deceleration map, and these are areas where drivers may slow down, they may not slow down, but it's really for tandem in particular where chase drivers should be aware of this.
The chase drivers should be aware that the lead driver may slow down in these 3 areas on the course. It doesn't have to be a major slowdown. It can be a minimal reduction in speed based on an increase in angle or maybe a left foot brake in that area. Whatever it might take for that driver to stay on course and online, they will use those 3 areas only to slow down. Now, if the drivers slow down in another area, let's say they apply a lot of brake up here on the outside zone 1, that's going to be held against them. And if anything occurs up there, let's say a collision or the chase driver making a mistake because of that, that'll be held against the lead driver because it's not kind of an authorized area to do that in.
So we've talked about the track map, we've talked about where style is being judged in particular, but let's break down what style actually is as it's represented in the series.
So style is broken down into fluidity and commitment. Now, fluidity looks at the rotation of the vehicle from initiation through all the transitions on the course. We're looking for the rotation accuracy, the speed, and the smoothness as well. And when I say accuracy, I mean when they rotate the car to angle, they're going to the amount that they wanted. So not adding too much, then having to take it away, or not enough and having to add a little bit more. We want them to be really precise out there on the course. And then the commitment side of things, full throttle up to initiation, getting up to those walls really confidently, using the vehicle's momentum to get up close to those walls, and feeling like they look confident from the outside, using the momentum of the vehicle to get all the way throughout the course as well.
Now, fluidity and commitment make up style, and if you overcommit and find yourself in a position where you've made a big mistake, we have a category for qualifying in particular called incompletes.
Incompletes in qualifying, very basic on paper, as you can see here. So spinning out any opposite drift, that means you're drifting in the opposite direction you should be at that specific point on the track. And then any latchables opening, so hood, hatch, trunk, or doors. And of course, if a driver straightens up for a significant amount of time, that'll be an incomplete. We do have other ones that are just not hard and fast. They're ones that we will interpret. So if the driver straightens up for a very minimal amount of time, very short, maybe during a transition, it might not be an incomplete. It'll just be a big deduction.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan, for breaking down today's qualifying judging criteria. This is the AutoZone Throwdown presented by Rain-X and round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. We'll take a quick break, come right back, and head right into qualifying.
How we doing out there, Drift World? We are live around the globe, but we are residing in Monroe, Washington, just north of Seattle. Beautiful sights. This backdrop here, crystal clear day, and the weather seems to be just the right temperature, Ryan. I think the right temperature where you could either wear flip-flops and a sweatshirt or jeans and a t-shirt, kind of that mixed melded weather, but overall the forecast is going to be pretty good for the weekend.
Absolutely love the Pacific Northwest, and this is one of my personal favorite tracks, and the fans here are amazing. And it's always great to get qualifying kicked off on a bright and sunny day, so let's do it.
Been coming here since 2006, if you believe it. So 12 years of history here at Evergreen Speedway, and just every year just kind of recounting the old videos and things that unfolded here and different course configurations. But right now, Taylor Hull making his debut this year. Unfortunately, he's been having some gremlins, but saw him earlier in practice, this Comp Cam's Cadillac ATS-V from Georgia, throwing it in. Gets high on the bank, about medium height. Now getting out to that touch and go here into the power alley, transition into that second outer zone, into the first front clip. You see the car a little disrupted there and approaching that finish line. Looks like Taylor Hull will be seeing head-to-head competition. Reason being, we have 32 vehicles heading into today's qualifying. So if every car runs a qualifying lap, they'll be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow.
Well, if you missed some of the opening show, you can see right there at that Les Schwab sign, that's the latest point of initiation. As Ryan Lantain talked about, they like to see the drivers drive as deep into this first outer zone as you can. There might be a little slowdown right here. That's our first little decel area, then hitting that touch and go, wrapping back around to that second outer zone, inside clip, and then the final flick here for Taylor Hull as he masters the throttle through the finish line. Great to see Taylor out there, and love seeing him and his wife traveling around the country and joining us in the FD circuit. Great people, and a great way for him to kick off his first run of the afternoon.
Yeah, Taylor Hull coming all the way from Georgia in that Comp Cam's Achilles tire, a firm consulting ATS-V. Only Cadillac in competition, so like seeing the variety of different vehicles out here. And again, debuting this car for the first season, looking for some great things from him, getting that car dialed. Again, everybody knows kind of the freshman jitters, not so much the driver, but sometimes just working out the kinks in the vehicle as we await for Taylor Hull's score. So, yeah, taking a look here, we do have 32 drivers in competition. So, as long as you get a score, you'll be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. And there's Taylor Hull's score. Qualifying number one. Look at that. I'm just kidding. He's obviously the only one. With a score of 60. That is a 6-0. 60 for Taylor Hull. Taylor Hull puts a score on the board, leaving a lot of opportunity there for his second run, as noted before by our judge, Ryan Lantain. And if you don't know, now you know that 2 non-consecutive runs, so go back to the back of the line. Coming up from Battleground, Washington, not too far from here, a fellow PNW driver. There's a strong contingent of Pacific Northwest drivers, either Oregon or Seattle or Washington in general. But Cameron Moore, the Butcher. Butcher by day, Crusher of the Clutch by night. Here we go, Cameron Moore. Haven't seen him a couple rounds this season, but it's great to see him back here in his own backyard. Out to the touch and go, barely dips a toe in, gets and fills that second outer zone, approaches and takes out that Black Magic Intense clipping point, loses that front bumper, but does not lose the angle. So Cameron Moore puts a run together. Ryan, walk us through this run here of Cameron Moore.
So taking a look at Cameron Moore here, as you watch, you'll see kind of speeding down right there. He initiates at the second standing cone, so nice early initiation. Stays on throttles, trying to get up as high as he possibly can on this bank. We'll start seeing cars get closer and closer. If you listen to the vehicle here, you can see a little bit of a lift right there. That's right in that decel area that the judges have designated. Then through that touch and go, he gets pretty close to that outside zone. Right here, he was on a little bit of a tighter line. He had to really get on the throttle to try to keep drifting the car. And there he goes, losing the bumper there towards the end. Right through this section here, you can see he's a bit tight there. That knocked the bumper loose, and then he threw it off to the side. But a good start for him. And again, every score will be an automatic insertion into the top 32. And that will be a score for Cameron Moore as well.
All right, so Cameron Moore looking to automatically insert himself into the top 32. Got Nexen tires, and there it is, a 76. So a pretty good score out of the gate by Cameron Moore from Battleground, Washington. That just sounds fierce again. The Butcher, he's got blood on the car, the meat cleaver. He's from Battleground of all places. Austin Meeks Austin Meeks, committed service brand, Achilles radial, S14.5. Him and his family are running a pretty cool operation where they have animals at their house in South Carolina. So here we go, this Gulp S14.5. Let's see what you got, Mr. Meeks. Really consistent with that throttle. Likes him a little higher. You can see him throwing some more angle at it. Don't know if that was the right decision. Ryan, we saw it kind of just unfold there. You saw him throw some more angle at it towards the latter portion of that bank and just looped it. So that will be an incomplete run for Austin Meeks. So he's going to have to really lean and depend on his second run in order to make competition tomorrow.
Yeah, tough breaks for Meeks there, Jared. And I just want to give you a quick update from the desk here. We are hearing over the radio that we will have an updated score for Taylor Hull. That was not his final score, so we will update that. It does look like it's going to come in a bit higher. But let's take a look here at Austin Meeks. Great throttle control here coming through. Starts to put big angle in the car right here and just not really able to hang on to it as he goes off the line there and then just spins out right in front of the touch and go. And you can see big smoke right there. Spinning, not able to wrap it back around, and then just right there in that center section of that touch and go, he comes to a stop. So the pressure's on now, Jared. He's got one more to go. But you know, you have to expect that some drivers are going to come out and maybe try to put their better run of the first one down, try to get as high as they possibly can, and if they're able to get a score, then really push it on run number 2. And for Austin Meeks, he pushed a little bit too hard now, and he'll have to go back and try it on run number 2.
All right, so Austin Meeks again will have, unfortunately, an incomplete run on his first run, leaning on his second. Federico Sciarrifo from Italy. He is piloting that Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorino Drift Spec Fiorella. It's fun to say. As Federico initiates, you can see him dropping lower on the bank on initiation. It's a long, big bank here in Seattle. It's your first time seeing this track. That's finished since 2006. On that clip, scrubbing a lot of speed, a lot of angle there. Holds it together. But as far as fluidity there, you saw it being broken up there from first to second front clip, and especially on the bank too.
Well, Federico knows how to make a splash, and sometimes it's inadvertent. After Long Beach, he really worked hard to get the vehicle back in working order, and it's been a real pleasure to watch him develop this car. You can see here, struggling just a little bit to kind of maintain that fluidity coming off that bank. Gets back on the throttle, good job there through the touch and go. Tries to stay deep into this second outer zone, but pushes a little bit too long, goes wide on that inside clip, and then right here, just a little bit of herky-jerky motion, but he will get a score on the board. And again, as he continues to develop that car, it's great to have him in the series and see him continue to push that very unique drift vehicle that he's brought over here to the States.
Yeah, the only true Ferrari we see in Formula Drift competition. And again, Federico going up in flames in Long Beach. Great to see him back here in competition. As again, variety is definitely celebrated as a 63 hits his corner pocket. 63 for Federico Sciarrifo. Okay, so a correction there, an addendum on Taylor Hull's score. It's a 66. So Taylor Hull's score was a 66. Just going through them again. Cameron Moore was a 76. Austin Meeks, that incomplete. And Federico Sciarrifo, a 63. So just an update and addendum there on the previous scores. Now Farouk Kawai, Reckless Racing, E92 BMW. Saw him on social media, says worked through some little problems here and there, but now is back out and swinging. Originally from Poland, now living in Northern California. Farouk Kawai, consistent through the bank. See him, you can hear the attitude of the car, just lifting a little bit to navigate it into that touch and go, not overcook it. Just barely scares and knocks over that Black Magic clipping point. Some waving across the finish line, but he does get it through.
Well, one of the nicest guys in the biz. Let's take a look at his first run here. Very confident as he comes out of the gate. Watch how early he initiates here, Jared. Right at that third standing cone. Stays on the throttle. Does a pretty good job on the bank here. Maintains consistent angle here. You can hear the car really screaming. Could have been a little bit deeper into that zone. Now as he comes off into the touch and go here, he's going to draw a little bit of a weird line as he gets out to that outside zone. But he's able to wrap back around just a little bit tight there on that inside clip. And then right here, almost loses angle in the vehicle. And that was probably the most damaging part of the run. But overall, a good solid start for him. Had a couple little things that he could clean up. Just that last little turn right there. Yeah. He was able to hold angle and keep that line a little bit more consistent and the angle as well, I think the score would have gone a bit higher. But he will have a score in the books and guaranteed in the top 32.
So the 2J powered E92 BMW, again, Reckless Racing, finds himself on Nexen tires. And the scores are in for Farouk Kawai. And it's a 65. So a lot of these drivers landing themselves in the 60s range. Right now, Cameron Moore leads the pack with a 76. Next up, Dean Carnage Carney, who just saw last week at Festival Speed at Goodwood. So looking to see what Dean Carney's got in his Oracle Lighting, Achilles tire, Dodge Viper. Changing his setup from supercharged turbo, full different suspension from previous years. So this car is rip roaring, ready to go. Let's see what you got. Carnage, Dean Carney from Ireland. Achilles tires, go ablaze. Really tight to the wall. Nice job by Dean. Getting intimate with it. Off the bank. Steers it quickly, just dipping the tire tread into the touch and go. Doesn't get all the way out to the outside zone. About the second hash mark on the first front clip. But overall, I like the consistency, fluidity. Definitely an aggressive run there from Dean. Like you said, Ryan, some strategy of drivers go out swinging or kind of pedal back and then throw down in second run.
Yeah, and from what I'm hearing with regards to Dean, he's probably breathing a big sigh of relief. He wasn't really sure that the vehicle was going to be able to make it through 1 or 2 runs in qualifying. He didn't do a lot of practice runs, so he was just really trying to go out there and get a scored run. He was able to do that and keep the car in working order. Now he has an opportunity to go back and really fix the vehicle up to competition specs for tomorrow, if indeed he does not decide to run his second run, which would be his right, of course. But he will have a score and move right into the top 32 either way.
Yeah, some drivers choose that. They just forego their second run. They're confident, again, just getting into head-to-head, getting into the show, or they're just confident that's a strong run. So as the scores come in for Dean Carney, should feel good. But definitely still leaving some points out there on the board, overlooking the official scores here. And Dean and his Oracle Lighting, Achilles tire, Dodge Viper, an 81. An 81 for Dean Carney. An 81. All right, so now it is Kevin Lawrence. Kevin Lawrence. Coming to us from Orlando, Florida, and Juku Racing, BC Racing, S14.3. As K-Law waits on the line. Making sure the track is up to snuff and everything is clean, clear, and ready to go. Clipping points are in the respective positions. Remember, hashtag FDSEA, let everybody know. Also, I know Formula Drift posted it, Lontaine posted it, I posted it, all of the times. So don't go asking us, what time is that my local time here in Botswana or something, because you can do the math. Right? How many messages do you get those anymore, Ryan? It happens way too often. That's why we try to put up the schedule. What time is it here that will air? Well, right now, Orlando, Florida's watching Kevin Lawrence in Juku Racing S14.3. Woo! Getting me nervous there as he rides the ball, leaves it, hits it, puts it into that second outer zone, fills all of it tight to that front clip. Solid job from Lawrence and crosses that finish line. So K-Law, Kevin Lawrence, you can see that BC Racing coilover in that transition, Ryan, really getting put to the test.
Yeah, Kevin doing double duty this year with Pro and Pro 2 after coming off a very strong year. You can see locking up the fronts there, but really pushing it towards that middle section of the bank, trying to stay as deep as he possibly can. And then right here through the power alley, just getting that rear bumper into the touch and go, quick snap back around through that inside clip, and then the final inside clip here, smooth line being drawn and then throttling through the finish line. So some areas where he could have maybe gone a little bit deeper, made a couple little adjustments, but aggressive overall here from Kevin Lawrence, and a nice start for him.
All right, K-Law waiting for his score. Kevin Lawrence's score coming in for his first run. Scores are in here for the Orlando driver. 76, a 76 for the Njuku Racing S14.3. Puts him into number 2 qualifying position. You can see line, 30 points available, angle, and then 40 there for style. So a lot of points left there for angle. Next up, Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones, the Doc Falcon Tires Nissan 370Z from Los Angeles, California. Jeff Jones debuting this new vehicle as 370Z. Edelbrock supercharger, under the hood LS is what it's affixed to. Jeff Jones ripping through the bank. Nice job by Jones. See how he handles this. Some quick wheel corrections there, really getting out of that touch and go, but filling all of that second outer zone. Jeff Jones, a lot of tenacity here, very aggressive. Good job there by Jeff Jones. How will that be seen in the judges' eyes, Ryan?
Let's take a look here at Jones one more time, coming down the front straight. Initiates right there in between the second and the first last standing cone. Good angle here, getting that butt of the vehicle close to the wall. A little bit of an adjustment now, coming off into the touch and go. Swipes right through it. Nice transition back around. Hits that second outer zone, back on throttle through that first, or that inside clip, and then the final one there, like that transition there towards the end. So nice job right there by Jeff Jones. You can see pushing that rear wheel right onto that touch and go, and then just grazing that outside line of the second outer zone. So Jeff Jones continuing to improve throughout the year. Let's see where he locks in his first run of the day.
All right, scores are in for Jeff Jones. 84. So a solid first score there for Jeff Jones. Given just this course is just, you know, you really have to bring it all. You got to have the speed for the bank. You got to have the power. You got to have the kind of huevos, or basically you got to go for it, man, because that wall definitely will bite you back, and then it gets really technical towards the latter portion of the track. So it kind of funnels you down into the tighter portion. So Jeff Jones with an 84. Solid job there. If you have not downloaded the Formula Drift app, please do so, because live scoring, alerts and stats, exclusive content, breaking news alerts, notifications, access to free live stream, ability to purchase the tickets for future rounds of competition. Only 3 rounds left. The new FD Fan Rewards program where you can win some prizes, exclusive games and contests, special video features. All this available on either App Store or Google Play. Download it now for all things Formula Drift. All right, so already tearing it up out here again, day 1. Let everybody know we are live here at Evergreen Speedway. Tomorrow is game day. Our next driver, Kazuya Taguchi, who seems like he's getting that that GTR finally working. I know he's been having some issues, but it seems like the car, the Jerry Yang Racing, Keeley's Tire, Up Garage, Top One Oil, GTR. You can see him off in the distance warming up his tires. You can warm up your tires with a different exhaust note courtesy of MagnaFlow. Win a free MagnaFlow exhaust. Text MF Drift to 555-888. So if you got some downtime, you're sitting here waiting for Taguchi to warm up his tires, again, text MF as in MagnaFlow Drift to 555-888. Like I said, just perfect weather here. I know it's hot all across the country. In my home state of Arizona, it's what, $115 or something, and all across LA County. And I know there's some thunderstorms ripping through Indiana and the Midwest. So a lot of weather, inclement weather going around the country. All right, Taguchi. Achilles Tire, Up Garage, Top One Oil, GTR, Jerry Yang Racing. Coming to us from Japan. This vehicle piloted at once by our own FD team member, Rob Nishida. Taguchi, like I said, really getting the car figured out, getting it dialed, coming into the power alley. Big almost half the car into the touch and go. Transitions into that second outer zone. About the second or third hash mark on that first front clip and wraps it around the final one. Ryan?
Well, Taguchi in run number 1 is able to lay down a scored run. Let's see how it started off for him here as he comes down that back straight. He gets a nice early initiation just right after the third standing cone. You can see the smoke starting to dwell up now as he gets that wheel speed nice and high. Stays pretty deep into that first outer zone. He goes a little bit long there in the touch and go, and then watch this. He's going to push a bit wide here. Stay a little bit long in that second outer zone. He's going to miss that inside clip by a little bit, but then he's able to make it back around for that final inside. Here he was just a tiny bit off and a little bit too deep there, but great job getting deep into that zone, but just carried out a little bit too far, and that caused him to miss or be a little bit late on that inside clip. So we'll see how that affects the score, but a scored run nonetheless, and a good start for him here in run number 1.
And Taguchi with a 76, a strong showing for him. Like I said, looks like he's getting that car with just every turn of the wheel, gets better and better, like fine wine. Next up, we are seeing Kyle Mohan, the menace, in this MX-5, the Kyle Mohan Racing American Ethanol Mazda Trix, built to Apex MX-5. The lone rotary in competition. Earlier in practice, he was tearing it up. He's on Nexen tires. Just consistent exhaust note through that bank earlier. It is loud and proud. From Strong Beach, California. Longtime Formula Drift competitor. Love to see him get on the box. Here we go. Kyle Mohan. There we go. Listen to this thing. Just whizzing through the bank. Woo-wee, Rick. Firing off the road. And that looks like again, if you considered that some dirt or a wall, that would have been heavy into it.
Well, Kyle Mohan looked like a man possessed into round 2 at Road Atlanta. Had some nice one more time battles with Peter Vincek, and starts off pretty strong here. You can hear the car just screaming up on that big bank pretty deep into the zone here. But you can see that he's going a bit too fast as it comes off, and he's not able to put enough angle in the car to get around that turn with the momentum that he had. So he goes all 4 off. I have to imagine that the judges are going to call that an incomplete, because he did go 4 wheels off. But nonetheless, you can see there with the flames spraying out of the vehicle. And here's a look at it coming off the bank there, all 4 wheels off. That he'll come back very strong for run number 2, but unfortunately just pushed a bit too hard there on run number 1.
Just needs to keep it between the lines, and it seemed like maybe got a little trance there, just kind of fixated on it and just overcooked it, and unfortunate therefore, but exciting up until that point. But as we'll make it official here momentarily with Mohan with an incomplete run. And there it is. So, yeah, unfortunately for the next entire shrouded vehicle, Kyle Mohan does have an incomplete run, but better yet, he does have another run to get a score. Alex Hilbrun from Lima, Peru. Team IMR stands for Inca Madness Racing. Nitto tire, BMW M3. Supercharged V8 under the hood of the BMW. A dominant force in Pro 2. Very busy man traveling from Peru to here. And here we go. You see kind of a hiccupy start from the get-go. Right, I want to see at what point did he initiate. Right now, looks like he's really moving there. Now into that touch and go. Nice drop that tire. Into that first front clip, dialed. And transitions back. Ryan, my only point of contention there is on the bank, just a little bit of wavering there, and also at what point did he initiate? But just again, really dominant Pro 2, and now here in Pro, what do we got?
I think he's going to be good on the initiation. Looks like he maybe just had a little bit of a gear miss there, but he gets going. You can see the tire smoke there before the last standing cone. One thing that's noticeable here is that he's really high on the bank, and he stays deep into the bank. You can see those the orange and red markers there designating where the driver should leave that zone. He did a great job there, one of the first drivers we've seen do that, and that gives him the proper line to hit that touch and go, that outside zone, and then a nice smooth line through that inside clip. So as you said, a little bit of some front wheel wavering on the bank, but outside of that, it was pretty good in the areas where it really mattered. And the judges are placing so much emphasis on the big bank in terms of point allocation for line and angle, so I have to imagine this is going to be a pretty decent score.
Let's see what Hilbrun's got. Can he take that #1 position and lead the pack? And the scores are in. Hilbrun with #1, 84. It's an 84, so you can see 28 out of 30 on line, a 19 out of 30 on angle, and then style. You can see only 3 points out there. So the angle criteria, again, the 3 judges broken up: 1 line, 1 angle, 1 style. So an 84 for Hilbrun in the IMR BMW. Next up, the Supra of Dan Burkett, Rad Industries. Nexen Tire, Toyota Supra. It's actually originally from here in Washington, now living in Southern California. Initiates, great looking car. You could see him really sticking it to the wall. Almost avoids that touch and go, Ryan. Maybe a little bit nervous there. Transitions into that final clip. Ooh, almost corrected and straightened out there. Let's look at this again, Ryan. And you've seen Hilbrun's run, Ryan. You complimented Hilbrun on how long he stuck to the wall. Looks like Dan came off just a little bit early.
Well, you know, Dan is such a great team. Him and his team are really awesome to have in the series. They provide so much color, and you see that play out on the track here. Dan, very aggressive, but as you said, comes out off the bank and comes up in the middle of the power alley here. The judges like to see you get out to that touch and go, and then draw that line up to that second outside zone, so that you can have a smooth line to the inside, the 2 final inside clips. So I think Dan's going to lose a couple little points there, but it was a good first pull for him. You kind of see what his abilities are. He's a very talented driver, and he's got a lot of magic that he can play with there. So he'll take this run into account, see where it comes in, and then figure out what he needs to do on run #2.
And just over the years, progressing as a driver, as just kind of a part of the fabric of the drifting family, and just kind of always championing the Supras and the Supra community. And there it is, 77. So he'll take that. Again, you can see some of the scores and the breakdown there, leaving some points on the board. Again, angle judge. Who's the angle judge? Was that you, Ryan? Is that you? Andy? Man, he's harsh right now. He's leaving. He's stern but fair. So just looking down there at Andy, just there you go, holding up his fist. All right, so next up, Jonathan Castro, Dominican Republic. Jardot Metaldom, Nexen Tires, Toyota Racing, 86. From Santo Domingo. And here we go. He is on his Nexen Tires. Here we go, Castro. Just whizzing right along. Consistent through the bank. Let's see a little bit higher, but like I said, fluidity wise, ticking all the boxes. A couple of these guys, you see that transition there, maybe gripping up a little bit, but very, very fluid from Castro.
So here we go, Castro's first run out. Let's see, he gets a nice early initiation there, back on throttle. You can see a lot of guys where the smoke line starts to develop after they initiate. You see the initial puff of smoke, and then no smoke, and then it starts to really come on as Castro leaves the bank here. He dips that toe right into that touch and go. Nice flick back around, tight on that inside clip, and good fluid motion here, but he goes a little bit wide on that last inside clip through the finish line. Here's Castro here. You can see he puts that right rear tire, and then that snappy transition back around. The judges were real specific about that it's fine to have the tire there, so that means the back bumper will be hanging over. Just looking for that tire onto the yellow markings that have been painted down in that touch and go area.
All right, scores are in for Jonathan Castro, and they will drop. Boom, an 82. A solid score there for Castro, an 82 puts him into the number 3 position. All right, so next up, Dirk Stratton. Dirk Stratton from Ohio. Lingenfelter Performance, Achilles Tire, Stratton Chevrolet, Corvette C6. Good looking car, the Drift Vet, as it's been deemed, hashtag, going into the bank. He had a good event here last year. Ooh, another. Oh man, gutted. Didn't look like all 4. See what the judge's verdict is here.
Yeah, I don't think he went all 4 off, but definitely you could tell it was a mistake. He had to drop momentum in the vehicle and had to make a correction there. You can see his initiation, his smoke line, his line being drawn on the bank, kind of a mid-high line. He comes off a bit early here. I think he sees he's in trouble right about here. He's going to start lifting, and then right there he goes off course. And so obviously some big deductions on line there. There'll be some deductions on angle because of the angle that was forced in that particular part of the course. But we'll see if the judges do score this. Here's a view from the power alley. You can see he basically 4 pretty much get off there when you look at it from that angle. This is we had a really interesting scenario with a run with Justin Pollock many years back where we did not have that angle, and it was hard to see exactly how many tires were off, but from that angle there you could see that there was at least 3 off. The 4th was pretty close to the line, so kind of nitpicking here, but the judges may utilize their privilege of giving that an incomplete. We'll see.
All right, so let's take a look. This is the breakdown of the course.
Yeah, this is what Ryan was talking about. These areas here in yellow, that's where the line and angle points are allocated. The areas in this kind of lighter blue is where style is. So you see a lot of points being dedicated to line and angle in this area in particular, and then these areas, as Ryan talked about, and then everything else is angle. So when you're looking at how the judges are scoring things, it's good to take that into account. Everything else is style. Thank you, Ryan.
Everything else is style. You're right, man.
Just remember, blue, style.
Blue, style. Yellow,
line and angle.
Right, Ryan. Everything is about style, dude. When the wave breaks here, don't be there.
So just waiting on the judges here for this final. Looks like we do have a result
for Mr. Stratton, and it is a incomplete run. So a couple drivers with incomplete runs already. Meeks, Stratton, Mohan. So we talked about every driver getting a qualifying run. We'll see head-to-head competition. Pressure mounts for those 3 drivers. Next up, Matt Kaufman. Matt Kaufman. He's piloting his Kaufman Racing, Thunderbolt Racing Fuel, Achilles Radial Nissan 240SX from Central Point, Oregon. Here we go. The Ford V8 powered S13. Shred it, bro. Just barely smooches that touch and go into the second outer zone. And crosses the finish line. There is Matt Kaufman's first solo run. He's got some fans here. Right?
So Matt Kaufman here on his first pull. Let's see how he does there. Nice and early on that initiation. You can see trying to find that groove in the big bank here. The shot from the power alley. Big angle coming off this section of the course. Just touches that touch and go area there. A little bit short on that outside zone, but great job on the inside clip. A lot of throttle and aggression here for Kaufman, and a good way to start off his campaign here in run number 1.
All right, so Kaufman waiting for his score. So that big signature air filter sticking out of his hood. All right, scores are in for Kaufman. As Kaufman gets an 80, an 8-0 for Matt Kaufman on his first run. Next up, Matt Van Kirk.
I was trying to put it in my lap,
And here we go, Matt Van Kirk. From Marysville, Washington. This is his home track. He has a lot of track time here. Oh, and Van Kirk not throwing a ton of angle at it. Just barely breaking the tires loose. Puts the car in the right spot. Knocking over that front clip. And there is Van Kirk's run. Like I said, in the second portion of the course, looks like he put the car in the right place, but on initiation, a little slow trickle.
Well, Van Kirk was an absolute beast in New Jersey. We really had a great showing there, but you can see that kind of the power differential, the smoke line does not really get started. The wheel speed's going to be a little bit different, so he's driving a different vehicle than everybody else here, but he's trying to do the best with what he has here and does a pretty good job in the second half of the course trying to find the best line and angle that he can. But you can see that there was a bit of a difference there on the bank, wasn't generating as much smoke and was kind of on a mid-high line on the bank. So he will be in the top 32 tomorrow. He caused a lot of problems for a lot of drivers in New Jersey. His driving was absolutely on point. He was very consistent. He found a way to keep up with everybody. So Matt Van Kirk looking solid out there and trying to continue that momentum from New Jersey.
All right, scores are in for Matt Van Kirk. And it's a 73 for Van Kirk. As next driver getting staged and ready to go, Van Kirk with that 73. Next up, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR from Annapolis, Maryland. And here we go, Vaughn on his first run. Former FD champ, find himself kind of low in the current seating, 16th right now. Wants to better that here in Seattle. He has a lot of experience with this course. Loud and proud X-Force exhaust into that outer zone, into the front clip and the final clip. And brings it home for the former champ, Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Take a look here at Vaughn's first run in his qualifying campaign. Initiates right there, right before the Les Schwab sign. And you can see he's on a kind of a mid-high line there towards the end, but on the mid-line at the first section of the bank. Gets through that touch and go. Nice job there. Hits that outside zone. It could have been a little bit deeper, but you can see overall a really consistent, nice first run for Vaughn Gittin Jr. And here it is, you can see that three-wheel motion, gets right into that touch and go with that left rear wheel. And incredible speed here for Vaughn. We'll see where that stacks up against the other runs as his first run is in the books.
Yeah, this torque machine, like we've always talked about this season, the three-wheel motion, and we'd like to see him higher on the bank, get a little closer to the wall, but maybe saving some in the tank, literally and figuratively, for his second run. Him and his other RTR teammate, that's a 75. So like I said, leaving a lot of points out there. Look at that breakdown, 24. A lot of points missing on angle. And that's what I was kind of noticing on the second go-round. At first shot, you know, it looked good. You're kind of, the car looks sensational, but could have been higher and could have had more angle on the bank.
Well, we're seeing obviously, you know, the angle judge is really hitting them hard this afternoon and keeping to them account. And obviously a lot of that is in the bank. You know, they really want to see that commitment on the bank, and you can draw a nice line on the bank, but if the angle's not there, you're going to receive some deduction. So we'll be moving on to our next driver, Michael Essa.
Talking about more former champions, Michael Essa Autosports, Achilles Tire BMW. Actually running a BMW engine under the hood of it as opposed to some of the other guys swapping them out. But Michael Essa really high on the bank. Nice job there. Comes off into the touch and go, dips his tire. That'll be a deduction, but still really fast and very smooth through the course. Michael Essa exploding Black Magic clip, but a good run there from Michael Essa.
So a scored run from Michael Essa. Let's look at a little bit more detail now. You can see gets a nice early initiation. He starts on a mid-high line. He starts working up, starts flirting with that bank wall there. Now he's looking for it. Now he's going to come off the bank. He's very, very fast right there. And you can see does drop that left rear tire, but he is able to transition back around. He could have been a little bit deeper into that zone, but you can see still driving with a lot of really good fluidity. Hits that last inside clip, but Michael Essa, always a very solid driver as he wraps through this final inside clip here. You can see we must have lost a light, it looks like. Something popped off the vehicle there towards the end, but it will be a scored run, and we'll see where that stacks up with the rest of the runs, Jared.
All right, thank you, Ryan, as the scores are being calculated for Michael Essa. Getting into our top 15 drivers. Our current seating, and scores are in for Michael Essa, and it's a 77. So a 77 for Essa puts him into position 6. Next up, the other RTR Mustang piloted by Chelsea Denofa. BC Racing Nitto Tires Ford Performance Mustang RTR. All right, so again, Chelsea Denofa waiting to leave the line on his first qualifying run. We saw the team owner, Vaughn Gittin Jr. of the RTR, ready to rock, ready to rowdy. Here we go. Chelsea Denofa, his first qualifying run. Really early initiation, way before that first banner that is Les Schwab. Consistent exhaust note through the bank. Gives that back left and the touch and go, fills all that second outer zone. A little bit far off of that front clip. Like to see him a lot closer there. Oh, buddy. Wow, that was flirting with disaster there, Ryan. But Chelsea Denofa went 88 miles per hour, back to the future.
Well, there's never a run that Denofa does not give you 100%.
Right,
you can see the front right locked up there. Drivers using all the tools they have available to him. Deep into that zone right there. He leaves it as deep as you possibly can, but he's still able to set up a good line through that power alley. And as you mentioned, it just goes a little bit wide on that first inside clip. That's where you got to watch where you enter that second outer zone. And then right there, punch the cone for good measure. Here's Denofa coming off of that power alley. You can see he hits it right there. And then through this section, he's just going to go a tiny bit wide on that third hash mark there. And then wrap it up back around. Here it is again. Good transition back around. Close to that wall. You can see just how close he is right there. But he does go a little bit long through that zone. But a very aggressive, high-powered run from Chelsea Denofa and should receive a quality score.
All right, Chelsea Denofa waiting to score, and an 88, which coincidentally, that's his race number too. So an 88 for Chelsea Denofa puts him into the #1 position. All right, so Denofa, our new leader. And right now, Alec Honadell, Rain-X Permatex.
Will it go live?
Nexon Tires, Hoonigan S14 from Florida. Furthest most point right now from him. Gets all the way out to touch and go. You see his one tire go off tight. Big angle there. Is that too much? Almost. You saw him hanging out there. Almost got hung out to dry. Let's take a look at this run here again, Ryan. Walk us through it with Alec Honadell.
Well, you can obviously see the importance of getting everything right on that big bank, setting you up coming into that power alley. And Alec Honadell does a pretty good job. He stays deep into this zone here. You can see he is going to drop that tire just a little bit there, but he has a snappy transition back around. He swings right there through that first inside clip. Gets held up for a second, but is able to make it look fluid and pretty dynamic. And so this should be a pretty good start for him. as Alec Honadale gets one run of his 2 in the books here in Seattle.
Again, the angle points still being left out there on track, and especially on the bank, I have to imagine, because the shortage of big angle there, they're really trying to expedite and get through that bank. I mean, this is a very abrasive track. It eats through tires, and an 81, so still a solid score there from Honadale in this Rain-X vehicle, changing up the livery every round. So it's cool to see the different iterations of his vehicle. But an 81 puts him into the number 5 position. So next up, Ken Gucci, the OG, been competing in FD since day 1, celebrating 15 years, alongside just a handful of other drivers, including Vaughn Gittin Jr., Dai Yoshihara, and Chris Forsberg. So Ken Gucci, Greddy Performance, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 on Falcon tires. He did the Instagram takeover. See a little insight there from the Goosh as he hijacked the Formula Drift Instagram. Shouldn't say hijacked, they gave the keys over to him. And here comes Goosh out of the gate. Past Evergreen Speedway sign. Let's see where he initiates. Boom, very early. Even before the gap in the billboards. Ken Gucci at 2JZ. Banging away. Boom, right on the touch and go. Scrub some speed into that second outer zone and into both front clips. Great execution, Ryan. Let's take a look at this again. How was his angle here on the second pass?
Well, definitely, I thought the bank was one of the better parts of his overall run. You can see he gets a nice early initiation. He's back on throttle pretty quickly. He starts on that mid, but then he works up really quickly, and see how long he stays deep into this pocket right here, really filling that zone completely, but not going off course here. He gets that left rear right into the touch and go. Drivers can do it wherever they want. He could have been a little bit deeper into that second outer zone, but that's pretty much the most that you can probably criticize on that particular run. Everything else was pretty solid. You can see here he's really staying deep right into those lines there, right on that section of the course where those markers are designating where that zone ends, and then he just dips that tire right there into that touch and go. And this is where if he would have pushed out a little bit further, he could have filled that zone a bit more completely, but he's still able to hit that inside clip, and the rest of the run is pretty solid. So we'll see how the judges think as well, and where that puts Ken Gucci for run number 1.
Ken Gucci more than meets the eye. Look at that, 86. And 86 puts him into number 2 position, driving the Toyota 86. So a lot of number parallels here with Chelsea Norfolk getting 88. And that's his race number. Ken Gucci with the 86 on the Toyota 86. So talking about FD veterans, Daijiro Yoshihara. Similar vehicle, but his housing the Subaru badge, the Subaru BRZ, turn 14 distribution, Falcon tire, Ineos oil, and Dai throwing it down. Good Dai, very poised. Like what Dai is doing. Ripping away in that turbocharged LS on that front clip, transitions into the final front clip. Well executed run there. So it seems like these chassis, the 86 BRZ chassis, favoring well, looking really good.
Well, a pretty similar run to Ken's, except for 2 noticeable things. You can see as he initiates, he actually is a little bit higher. He doesn't need to move up as much. He kind of stays on that line, so there's a consistency factor there. And then as he stays deep into this zone, he's also going to just touch lightly right into the touch and go. But now his line is pushing him up towards that outside zone. He's able to fill that much better there. He's still able to wrap around and hit that inside clip, and then just pushes that cone out of its position, but really no harm, no foul there. So a nice run by Daijiro Yoshihara, and I think Ken had an 86, so you have to expect that that's going to be at least there, if not better.
All right, so Dai Yoshihara waiting for his score. Do we have a new leader? Do we have a new leader here in qualifying? Remember, everybody gets 2 runs, but Dai on his first takes the lead with a 92. A 92 for Daijiro Yoshihara. You're now number 1 qualifier, but still quite a few drivers to go, as well as a second run for the previous drivers, as we are now into the top 10. Top 10 coming into this round of competition. Seeded 10 coming in, Ryan Turk. The Gum Out Black Magic, Nexen Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. So 3 of these chassis in a row, Gucci, Yoshihara, and Ryan Turk. The Subaru bookended by the 2 Toyota Racing 86s. We saw Castro run earlier, Cameron Moore, so very popular chassis. Here we go, 2JZ powered Gum Out 86 of Ryan Turk. Ryan Turk initiates high on the bank, throws a little bit more angle out towards the end of that bank, dips that back left, Nexen tire, gets out to that second outer zone, dials it in, about 1.5 hash mark, and around that final clip. Ryan Turk getting a lot of applause here, Ryan.
Yeah, another beautiful run. I mean, watch how early this initiation is. Way before the third standing cone, right there by the Cometic sign. He draws this line, stays pretty consistent. You can see a tiny bit of moving around there, but overall really solid. Another driver that just dips into the touch and go and then picks that line, gets really tight to that second outside zone, but is able to do that and still come off that zone at the right time to hit those last 2 inside clips on a smooth line. So Turk here coming through the center section. Watch how he glides out here where he leaves it. He leaves it right about here, but he's still able to draw a nice smooth line to hit that inside clip. So nice job by Ryan Turk there. And with Daijiro Yoshihara at the standard at 92, you got to expect that's going to be right there or competing against it.
All right, so Dai Yoshihara with that 92. Can he get knocked down by Ryan Turk? Let's take a look. Again, you see how things are progressing here with the currently seated drivers, and he does, a 93. It's a 93 for Ryan Turk. So look at those points, only 1 point missing in line. He had a 26 on angle. So you do the math. As the drivers are getting better and better, like I said, we're getting into currently our top 10 coming to this round. A driver debuting a new car this year and is looking really strong and looking to see a win from him. He's had some success here in the past. This is the Falcon Tires Wish Borla exhaust. Falcon Tires Corvette of Matt Field. The Beast from the Bay initiates. Woo-wee, look at that. The Beast living up to his name, hammering down right now. Minimal corrections there. The rotor wheels go around. And really tight to that front clip. Transitions around the final front clip. Ryan, solid run. Again, we're up in the booth, and it's muffled quite a bit, but out here it is loud and resonating.
Well, beautiful job by Matt Field. He's always been a star, but he's really reached into the stratosphere, especially after that last round. You can see how great of a job he does on the bank. He stays nice and high here, but coming down off into the power alley, watch as he gets down in the power alley. He's going to touch it briefly, but he's not going to shoot himself out wide, so he misses that zone a little bit, and maybe leaving a few points on the table. But right there, he's back to beautiful, hits that inside clip and the final one. And so it's just the power alley to that second outer zone. You can see as he comes here, he doesn't get that good push off towards that outside zone, and he kind of has a little bit of straight angle there, and he's not able to fill that zone completely, but a great overall bank and so many points being allocated there. You have to imagine it's still going to be a very respectable and strong score. I just don't think it's going to get up into the #1 qualifier.
Can definitely feel the heat wave coming off the back end of that Corvette. And you saw that transition again, that touch and go into that second outer zone. Ryan, yeah, from that angle you really saw how little angle compared to some of the other drivers are even filling that second outer zone compared to the others. Is that going to be enough to knock down our? No, it's not. So a 90, but still a very prideful score there. So a 90 for Matt Field puts him into #3 position. Yeah, like you said, Ryan, in New Jersey, a Falcon Tire podium sweep. Right now it's his frenemy. This is Odi Bakshis. Falcon Tires, Max Oil, Drifts Wheels, S14. Speaking of Drifts Wheels, you can win a set of Drifts Wheels. We'll give you updates throughout today and tomorrow on how you can snap some photos and win some Drifts Wheels. And here is Odi Bakshis. Odie with his LS-powered S14.5. Listen to that exhaust note, Ryan. You can hear him just really consistent. Quick little massage, correction there, and then really nose it into that front clip. Like that approach. I want to slow that down and look at it the second time, the second pass. But just to the naked eye, Odie is just really becoming a dominant force, and he's always in your rearview mirror, especially on chase runs.
Well, he is one of the best chasers in the biz. There's no doubt about that, but he's really worked hard on his qualifying game, and you can see how that pays off here. He's not afraid to be committed to try to get to the wall, to push deep into that zone, going as long as he possibly can. He hits that touch and go, snaps back around. Great angle as he passes through that second outside zone, and even though he went a little bit long there from that zone, he was still able to hit those inside clips and draw a pretty smooth line. Let's take a look at it here as we slow it down. Nice angle back around. You can see that back bumper right near that wall, and he pushes out real wide here, but he's able to get back and still hit that inside clip. So great job by Odie Bakshis, as one run of 2 is now in the books for him.
And scores are in for Odie Bakshis. What do we got here, Odie? A 93, bang, a 93. So he currently ties Ryan Turk. So a 93 for both these guys. And wow, so look at that. Like I said, just progressing through. Next driver, Forrest Wang. Vaptasia, Achilles Tire, Energy Innovations S15. Looking forward to seeing, again, Forrest Wang's signature style. Definitely a lot of smoke kicking off this thing. And that's not courtesy of the Vaptasia, but that is courtesy of Achilles Tires. Gets out to the touch and go. Just barely kind of avoids the touch and go area. Knocking off that Super Duke front bumper. Oh, and looks like not 100% there. He shuts it down before the finish line. Oh boy.
Yeah, it didn't seem like Forrest was at 100%, and maybe something was wrong with the vehicle there. You can see he's on this middle line here, great throttle control, and he goes really deep into this zone. But as he comes through this section here, you can see through that tight, he's not able to get fully out there, and then we start to see the car struggling right there. You can actually hear it, and then right there he has to shut it down. So unfortunate for Forrest, because qualifying is an area that he can very easily get a #1 qualification. It looks like the car is just not functioning the way that he wants it to here. Hopefully he can get back to the paddock and get it up to spec, so he's able to go out there and throw a solid run for qualifying. Just needs to get a score in the books to make it into tomorrow's competition with 32 exact drivers.
Well, hopefully he can get nuts on his second run. Right now, that will be an incomplete run for this Vaptasia Achilles Tire Energy Innovations S15 driver. So Wang sits on the outside looking in, and potentially he needs a score. So yeah, he's going to need to be towed back to his pit area. It's not a good sign for definitely one of the most popular drivers in Formula Drift. All right, I talked about Odie Bakshis and winning some Drifts wheels. Here, win a set. This is how. Tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FD Drifts. That is FD-DRIFZ. And enter to win a free set of Drifts wheels as run by the number 723 Odie Bakshis. So you can win the very same set of wheels that Odie runs on his car. Again, hashtag FD-DRIFZ. Enter to win a free set of Drifts wheels. And embrace the heat. Start the conversation. Join the community. Go to formuladee.com. Hover above Join the Community. Click it and stick it. Talking about Formula Drift. Again, create some content, share it, and join the community on formuladee.com. Getting Forrest Wang here off the course. Next up, the Latvian lover, Kristaps Blush. And Kristaps in practice was absolutely blazing in this Eurofighter. We saw the car debuted at Irwindale last year, and now that was just to be kind of a physical debut, not an actual competition debut, and unfortunately had some bad luck, ran the car at Irwindale, but now it is on its full season of competition. The full carbon Kevlar E92 with that Mass Motorsports V8 under the hood, Motul lubricants, Wisefab suspension. Very signature looking vehicle. And here comes Christos Blush, who got a win earlier this year at Atlanta. So Christos initiates. Like I said, he was absolutely tearing through in practice. So he drops down a little bit here. Big angle into that touch and go, but surprisingly springs back, comes uncoiled into that second outer zone, dials it in and knocks over that final front clip. Ryan, let's look at this here again as Christos Blush on his first qualifying run.
Well, he definitely does not lift, especially on the bank. You can see he gets a nice early start here. Tons of throttle. You can see the wheels got a little wonky there for a second, had to make a slight adjustment, but he's able to stay pretty much in the entirety of that zone. Hits that touch and go, goes really deep into that touch and go, and he has to work hard to get back onto that second outside zone. And then again, more throttle pouring on here through that final inside clip. So Christos with the score on the board. We'll see where that slots him in. You can see maybe using a little bit too much of that touch and go as he tries to get back to that zone. He ends up going into it a little bit late. He's still able to get to that inside clip, but leaving a few points on the table there, but nonetheless a good start for Christos.
Seemed like it was strategy there, just hanging out to touch and go, scrub some speed in order to flick it back and get into that second outer zone, because he was definitely flying on the bank. Again, 293s currently lead that of Odi Bakshis and Ryan Turk. Christos Blush, his score is in, and it's delivered. A 90, a 9-0 for Christos Blush, puts him into number 4 position. Christos Blush, HGK, Eurofighter, with a score of 90 on his first run. Again, we take the better of the two. It is not equated into the average of the 2 runs. Here's Justin Pollock. We talked about Justin Pollock, the only driver, or sorry, I was given some false information, but currently 5th in standings, does not have a win, as well as earlier I said that he was the only driver top 5 that doesn't have a win, but also Peter Vincent, who currently sits 4th, does not have a win. But Justin Pollock, Falcon Tires, Roush Performance, Ford Mustang. Nice Justin Pollock transitions into that second outer zone. The exhaust note just echoing through Monroe, Washington. Justin Pollock putting down an aggressive run.
Well, JTP has certainly been one of the more settled drivers we've seen this year, building off of where he thought he had a really good vehicle coming into this year, and you can see it's paying dividends for him. He's really high in the championship, seems to have a lot of confidence as he leaves that bank, fills it pretty well, could have been a tiny bit deeper, utilizes the entire touch and go, but then massive angle right there to get out to that second outer zone. Tries to draw a smooth line here through the final 2 inside clips, and Justin Pollock, for him, a good start there. Let's take a look and see how much of that touch and go he uses. Touch and go starts about right there and ends about right there, so he feels that entire thing, but is still able to get back to that outside zone by utilizing that angle. So Justin Pollock, a good overall start for him. Let's see where that lines up overall in the top 32.
All right, Justin Pollock score at 90, so another 90 in the mix. So JTP, Falcon Tires, Roush Performance, Ford Mustang with a 9-0. Again, unofficially right now, position 4. This guy's really chopping it up here, as currently sitting 4th. Peter Visek, the Candyman, the Wordhouse Falcon Tire Nissan Silvia S15 from Plok, Poland. Polish champion, one of 2 cars in this Wordhouse drift team. There's the standings. See Turk, Bakshis, Yoshihara, Field, and Blush. Look at that 1, 1, 3, 4, 4. They're all tied up. Here we go. Peter Visek into the bank at 2JZS15. Throw some more angle at it. Can he slow the train down a little bit? Yes, he can. Really into touch and go. Fills all that second outer zone. Dials it into the first hash mark. Wow. Peter Visek showing up in grand fashion from Poland. Ryan, let's look at this again.
Well, between him
Pow.
and James Dean, both these guys really pushing the limits of what's possible. You can see as he initiates, he gets right to the wall and pretty much stays there and fills that zone, comes off it right around the right time, dips into that touch and go, and then draws a very smooth line out to that outside zone, right back on throttle there from that decel zone, snappy transition back around through that final inside clip. And this is definitely going to be a contender for #1 qualifier, especially given that he was able to fill the zone from the beginning and stay in there with very little movement in the vehicle, so fluidity there. And then watch this transition right here in full angle all the way through, leaves it at the right time, smooth line into that inside clip, and then another nice transition back around here.
Jeez.
And then mashing through the finish line. Just a perfect line being drawn there by Peter Vincek.
Nearly perfect. Do we have a new leader for Peter Vincek and the Falcon Tires Wordhouse Drift Team S15? And we do. Peter Vincek with a 96, near perfect. Only points he was missing, 1 point in style and 3 points in angle. So again, line was perfect, score of 30 out of 30. So Peter Vincek, our new qualifying leader, excuse me, our #1 qualifier as it stands. Still 3 drivers left on their first run, and then we'll go back to the beginning. Chris the Force Forsberg, NOS Energy Drink 370Z on Nexen Tires. The only 3-time Formula Drift champ. As Forsberg initiates, got his AMS Performance Package 7 Fast Intentions coming into the power alley, firing away with the VQ engine, previous to contrary to previous rounds of competition or seasons, as they're running a VK and a V8. Now running the VQ. Ryan, let's take a look again.
So Chris building some momentum after his win in Orlando, looking solid here in his qualifying game as well. You can see where his front wheels are above that line. That's a good marker for these vehicles to see exactly how far they're getting away from that back wall. Chris, good job there dipping into that touch and go. Kind of slow rolls his angle into that second outside zone and then through that final inside clip there. So great job by Chris. Here as he comes off, he's very deep into that first outside zone. Look at the touch and go here, uses about 2/3 of it. And then
fills
that second outer zone. You can see the line being drawn there, really precise through that inside clip. And then right there setting himself up for another section of the course that looked very fluid and overall nice dynamics by Chris Forsberg.
Yeah, just really using all of the course there. As waiting for the scores here, and they are in an 87 for Chris Forsberg. You can see angle 20 out of 30 there. Again, 1 point missing in line and only 2 in style. As again, Chris Forsberg, 3rd coming into this round of competition. Next up, Frederick Osbo, and finally we'll have James Dean, who is our points leader and our defending champion. So right now, Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo, the Rockstar Energy Drink, Nexen Tire, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla. Osbo throws in the hot hatchback into the wall, sticks it. Ryan, you're talking about the tires. Looks like just a little bit off. Fills all that second outer zone. Wow, almost knocking over the clip, but does not. Narrowly evades knocking it over. Just almost clinical there, Ryan, but on the bank. Let's take a look here again.
Yeah, you can see Osbo also utilizing that front line right there for his front wheels, staying right on it. Knows exactly where that rear bumper is. Probably could have been a little bit deeper there, but overall you can see it's consistent. Nice snappy transition back around. He gets right to angle as he hits that second outside zone. And then right here, it's smooth sailing for Frederick Osbo from those final 2 inside clips. Here it is. You can see as he gets into that rotation, he's able to hold that angle pretty well and be very close to that inside clip. And you can tell from the Vincek run, when he transitioned from the touch and go to that outside zone, it was a really hard flick that he held it right through that zone. And so we're obviously seeing that, especially the angle judge really taking a look at that and allocating those points accordingly.
Still a strong score of 94. A 94 for Osbo puts him into number 2 position. Osbo with a 94. All right, so next up, and again, final driver for our first qualifying runs for all the drivers, James Dean. James Dean, Wordhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tire S15. And James throws it in. Can he knock off his Wordhouse Drift teammate from that number 1 spot? James fills all the touch and go. You see him kind of just like, whoop, gotta get over there, and kind of springs back over that second outer zone. Did it have enough to take down? I mean, it's kind of a good and a bad thing, when the cars are nearly identical.
Well, you can see how important it is, that setup from the big bank into the touch and go area, the power alley, and then getting that right snap up to that outside zone. That's one of the things we saw with Peter, but look how close James Dean was consistently to the big bank. Now he's going to come through the power alley, he's going to use a bit more than Peter, snap back around, put angle in the car, does a great job, and he's still able to get through that inside clip. So we see a lot of things that were similar to Peter, but will it have the same overall impact? It's very, very close. You can see just a great bit of driving here from James Dean, goes really deep into that touch and go, but is still able to get back around and fill that zone pretty well while maintaining great angle and drawing a nice line here through that final inside clip.
So scores are in. Is that enough to take down his Wordhouse Drift teammate out of his number 1 spot? James Dean, the machine, defending champion, a 93. So no, it is not, but still a strong score. James Dean, the 93 on his first run. So that completes the first qualifying laps. As we'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, run 2 from all our drivers, 32 drivers. Some drivers have an incomplete run on their first run. It is do or die for quite a few here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is the AutoZone Throwdown presented by Rain-X. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the AutoZone Throwdown presented by Rain-X. Jared Dienda, Ryan Sage, your tour guides for round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. We are over the hump officially as we have seen the first run from all our drivers. 32 drivers show up here today at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington, but only a few have scores. Or I should say only a few don't have scores. But notably, our number 1 qualifier, Peter Visek from Poland. He is the candy man. He's delivering on all sides, man.
Yeah, leading the way here, and you can see the commitment up on the bank, a very important factor here. He really stayed deep all the way through that zone, and as he comes off here, he gets right in that touch and go, fills about 2/3 of the way, and then uses the angle and the rotation to fill that outer zone just almost perfectly. And then from there, he had a really smooth line through those final 2 inside clips, and that's what got him up there at 96. So a really top level run for Peter Visek on run number 1. And we'll be very excited to see what he can bring for run number 2.
Yeah, Peter Visek, again, just, you know, he got his win last year at Irwindale, California. That's where the final round was. That's where James Dean was crowned a champion. So the Wordhouse Drift team showing up and saying, yo, look, we are international. We're here to throw down these 2 JZ-powered S15s. So right now, Taylor Hull debuting a new vehicle, this Comp Cams ATS-V coming us from Georgia. He's on Achilles Tires, a firm consulting. And here comes Taylor Hull. All right, so Hull initiating. You can see him mid to high line working his way up. Looks like he keeps it consistent on the middle of the bank. 2, 3, that's definitely quite a few tires off. Fortunately for Taylor Hull, no, yeah, he does have a score. It's a 66, but let's take a look at that again. From the naked eye, it looked like 3 tires, but that looked like another driver earlier, but it ended up being 4. But is that off course too much? Let's take a look here again, Ryan.
Well, just trying to improve on that run that he had previously before, pushing the limits a little bit here. We expect to see that. You can see a little bit of shake there in the front wheels. Trying to get settled here. He's on a mid-line coming off the bank. Now, as you can see, as he comes down into the power alley and through the touch and go, it's definitely, from that angle, it always looks like 2, but when we go to the other angle, you'll see at least a 3rd tire will be either near or off of the course. Let's take a look at it. You can see 1, 2, and there's the 3rd one right there. So really close. I think we've seen a score for something like that before, but nonetheless, he's going to be into the competition.
Yeah. I think he's got bigger fish to fry just on how this car, you know, it looks like he's getting up and running, but, you know, when push comes to shove, he's going to need to do head-to-head competition. So, you know, how is he going to chase down? You know, again, he has a 66. I truly don't believe he's going to better that with that 2nd run. But, and there you go. It is an incomplete run. So, unfortunately for Taylor Hull, that will be a incomplete run. He's currently in 28th position. That means we have quite a few drivers that still do not have a score. So, Taylor Hull, my recommendation is him and his team work on his vehicle to just get it running as tight and right as it possibly can, because he is going to head-to-head competition tomorrow. Next up, Cameron Moore Drift, the Battleground Washington. Nexen Tires, Toyota 86. All right, so Cameron, look at that. Woo! Getting up close and personal with the wall, comes down into the power alley, into the touch and go. Feeling all of it. This is where he had some issues on his first run, knocked off his front bumper, but still looking solid. The Butcher putting it down. So Cameron Moore had a 76 on his first run. Ryan, is this, you think this is going to better 76?
It definitely looked like it at first pass here. Let's see, he gets a nice early initiation there. You can see the smoke line starting to come up nice and early, and you can see that he's in the upper 3rd of the bank, and he stays there for a pretty sizable amount of time. And then as he comes off the bank, he hits that power alley really well, that touch and go. Right there, he has a little tiny flub, but overall, in the areas where it really mattered in terms of points, he had a pretty solid presence. And there he goes through the finish line. Here it is. You can see he kind of starts mid-high and then stays high for the majority of the bank. You can see a tiny bit of wavering there, but really maximizing or trying to maximize the points that he can. And then through that 2nd outside zone. Right here you can see a little bit of movement in the wheels as well, but I think this is going to be definite improvement on his first run.
All right, let's see if that rings true. Cameron Moore waiting for a score. Hey, if you need real estate here in Monroe, call Lynette Gam. Like this. Look at this backdrop, just absolutely stunning. Beautiful day for some drifting. Make some more clouds of our own. Courtesy of Achilles Tire, Nexon Tire, Falcon Tire, and there it is, an 87. An 87 on his second run. Attaboy, Cameron Moore from right here on the PNW puts himself into currently 11th position in qualifying. Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks, committed service brand, Achilles Tire, S14.5 from South Carolina. The Galp new oil brand sponsoring Mr. Meeks. Now Meeks, this is do or die. He has an incomplete run on his first run. He looped it coming into the power alley. You can hear him kind of maybe a little hesitation there. Yeah, you see that. Looks like he just, oh my goodness, Meeks comes to a halt. Oh. And you can just hear the frustration with that throttle. Oh man, absolutely gutted for Meeks.
Well, this is a really interesting situation, Jared, because if this ends up being an incomplete, which it looks like it will be, that means we've got one position open. That means at current, Peter Vincek would have an automatic pass into the top 16, because we do have 32 drivers, a full field here. And then right here, the mistake by Meeks, unable to hold it through that section of the course. He's really got to be kicking himself here. 2 opportunities and not able to get it done. Let's see if we can get a closer look at what happens as he transitions right here. He gets held up for a second. Now he's back on throttle, but he realizes he's got a lot of momentum here. He gets on the brakes, and he's on the throttle a little bit too late in order to get back through that section of the course. So unfortunately for Meeks, it looks like it's going to be an incomplete. And a tough break for him. Yeah,
it seemed like he was gun shy getting out to that touch and go. Coming off the bank, you saw him approach it and kind of like, whoa, I don't want to go over there. That's why I looped it earlier. And then it threw off the rest of his line, getting out to that second outer zone. He had hesitation, and like you said, that kind of momentum going towards there, and he kind of questioned just, so unfortunately, Austin Meeks, that is 2 incomplete runs. We will not be seeing him in head-to-head competition tomorrow for that Galp S14.5. Federico Sharifo and this Ferrari 599 GTB, twin supercharged Ferrari, aka Fiorella. He's on Nero tires. He's from Milan. How more quintessential Italy can you get? Federico from Milan drives a Ferrari. Bibida Babida as initiates into the bank. Federico consistent. You can see it in the smoke line, which isn't as thick as some of the other drivers. But nice posture there from this 599 and brings it on home. He had a 63 on his first run for this Triple F Racing Department Ferrari.
Well, Jared, it's all about positioning here for Federico, trying to better that score, get himself into a better starting point for the top 32. You can see he's one of the drivers that starts on that mid-high line, tries to work his way up, does a better job staying deeper into that zone. So on throttle there, gets off for a second. Now back on as he passes through that outside zone and those final 2 inside clips. So for Federico, a good 1-2 campaign here, and we'll see if he's able to improve on that previous score, which was, I believe, a 63.
It was a 63. You are correct, sir. So 63 on his first run. And just looking over here over Frank's shoulder, just saying, what up, dog? And what's up with the score on run 2? Scores are in here for Federico's second run, and a 71. A 71 for Federico puts him into 26th position. It does better his first run of 63. Next up, Farouk Kawai, who does have a run. He had a score on his first run of 65. What the Farouk? Here we go. In his Reckless Racing E92 on Nexon tires. Looks like he's getting the car worked out just with every turn and burn. Now residing in Northern California, Farouk looks like he's gained some confidence after that first run. Let it hang out. Let's hope he doesn't live up to his sponsor name and be reckless here. Past that first front clip, and around the final front clip. Ryan, a 65 on his first run. Got to tell you, like I said, it just seemed like he had more confidence there on that initiation.
Well, he's definitely giving himself an opportunity to utilize this as a self-confidence builder for tomorrow's competition. He most certainly will be in. Let's see if this is able to bump up from that 65. You can see right there, he was pushing it a little bit in that section of the course off that bank. A lot of points on the table there. As he transitions back around, he comes up a little bit short on that outside zone. But again, another full pass for Farouk Kawai here. And we'll see if he's able to better that 65. But now, wherever he ends up, it'll lock himself into tomorrow's competition, into the 32 bracket. And his work is done for the day.
All right, scores being tabulated here for Farouk. And scores in a 74, so he does better it. So a 65 on his first run, 74 on his second. That is putting him in currently 25th position in qualifying. All right, so next up, Dean Carney. Dean Carney had an 81 on his first run. All trends are saying that these guys are stepping it up further and further. And Ryan, we were talking earlier about, and you had some communique talking about Dean and his vehicle potentially not running 100%, and you might have speculated that he was going to park it on his second run and just rest on the laurels of his 81, but it looks like he's back here and going to run his second run to try to better it and his position into head-to-head competition tomorrow. The Oracle lining Achilles tire, Dodge Viper, again changing his package setup. Ran for 5 previous years with a supercharger. Now he's switched to turbo and completely revamped his suspension and all the settings. So it's practically a new car outside of it being another Dodge Viper on Achilles tires. Leaving the line, Carnage with a K. Dean Carney. See where he initiates. Boom, right before the billboard break. And Carney again, sets the track ablaze, but then comes to a halt. All right, let's just hope. Heard one of the guys say, hopefully there's no oil on the track, but don't know what happened there. So that will be an incomplete run there for Carney.
Well, hopefully that wasn't what he thought it might be. We were hearing some rumors over the radio that he was just hoping to get at least one pass scored because the vehicle was seeming like it was about to fall apart motor-wise. And he did get that one run in the books. The second one looks like he had to shut it down. Maybe he sensed something was going on there. But like we said, Jared, he does have that opportunity. He did have that opportunity presented to him. He was able to do it pretty well, and now he can go back and work on the vehicle, get it set up and ready for tomorrow.
All right, so Carney has an incomplete. Next up, we are seeing Kevin Lawrence. K-Law with Njuku Racing, BC Racing S14.3. Running an RB under the hood. And he is nowhere to be found. Oh, there it is. There's the nose of his car. That S13 front end on his S14 chassis. All right, clear to send Kevin Lawrence. His RB Power Nissan S14.3. He had a 76 on his first run, which is a pretty good score. Just wants to potentially better it. Good angle, very quick through the bank. See him kind of mid to high on the bank. Just touch and go, quickly dipping the tire. Transitions into that second outer zone. Tightens it back up to that second, or the first front clip at the second hash mark. Again, a lot of these guys, if they got a score in the books on run one, they just seem to throw down a little harder on that second.
Yeah, pretty solid run here for Kevin Lawrence. He has 2 runs now that looked really strong, and we've seen him really push the pace here in this particular part of the competition. One run after the other. Great job getting through that touch and go. Nice angle back around. Draws a smooth line there through the final 2 inside clips. Is able to hold it together there through the finish line. Here's Kevin Lawrence coming off the bank. Just gets that rear tire onto the beginning section of that touch and go. And you can see here trying to keep the momentum up. It's back on the throttle there right through that decel area. An overall strong performance here from Kevin Lawrence.
All right, so Kevin Lawrence. And Kevin Lawrence with a 78, so he betters it just by 2 points, but still does better at 78 on his second score as opposed to 76 on his first run. Puts him into 20th position. All right, so again, you could look at the Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard. Visick out front with a 96, Osbo, Turk. You see 94, 93s from Turk, Bakshis, and Dean, James Dean that is. So again, some high scores there from our top 5 current qualifying leaders in the Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard. Jeff Jones, who has an 84 on his first run. Jeff Jones, Doc, Falcon tires, Nissan 370Z, Edelbrock supercharged with the LS under the hood. Jeff Jones killing it out there. Nice job by Jones. All in touch and go. You see scrubbing a lot of speed there as far as fluidity goes. You see him checking it up a little bit, but just hammering down. Man, put a cinder block on the pedal and then took it off quickly. Coming from that touching, or excuse me, the second outer zone, you see him scrub a lot of speed.
Well, he had that 84 in run number 1, and you know, you got to imagine from Jeff's perspective, if I got an 84, I could easily squeeze that out to a 90, and that's what it looks like he was trying to do here. Really got high up on the bank. He's pushing very, very hard here, carrying a lot of momentum coming down as he transitions back to this outside zone. You can see he pushed a little bit too wide there, and he had trouble giving himself a smooth line to that second inside clip, but overall, Jeff Jones has a really nice score of an 84. We'll see if he can build on that, but if not, that's a great place to put him in. Here's where he just goes a little bit too long. He has to make an adjustment, kind of cut down and reduce the angle there to get back on track. But overall for Jeff Jones, we love seeing him out here and going crazy, and that's exactly what he does.
Scores are in here for Jones. Jeff Jones on his second run receives an 84. So it duplicates his first run score and is currently 14th in qualifying position. So he backs up an 84 with an 84. Next up, Kazuya Taguchi. Keeley's Tire, Up Garage, Top 1 Oil GTR. Jerry Yang Racing. And away goes Taguchi, commuting from Japan. And here comes Taguchi. See if he can pick it up. Yes, he does. Through the bank, into the touch and go. See him scrubbing it, hangs on to it. You saw him almost spin, but salvaged it there on that first front clip. So Ryan, break it down here again. Like I said, kind of was just rolling and scrubbed some speed and salvaged it.
So 76, Jared, was what he was looking to beat before. I think that's what you said. And let's see what he does up on the bank here. Great effort staying nice and high on the bank, taking a big risk there. That'll certainly pay off in the judges' minds. But as he comes down into the touch and go area here, you can see he comes up a little bit short on that that outside zone, and then the line that he was drawing pushed him out a bit too wide there, so he wasn't able to connect from outside zone 2 into inside clip number 1. So as you can see here, he's on a much tighter line, and he pushes very wide here, not able to get back around to that inside clip. You can see the third hash mark there.
Yeah.
He was outside of that, and it kind of gave him a little bit of a wonky line, but you have to give him due credit. He really took a big risk by staying very close to the wall up on the outer bank. There's a lot of points for a grab up there, so we'll have to see. We see the line and angle score coming in right now, and where is that going to finish it up? Is it going to be better than the 76, or is the mistake going to be too much?
All right, so a 76 on his first run, and it is backed up by a second run score for Taguchi of a 74. A 74 on his second run puts him into 23rd qualifying position. So 76 on his first run, 74 on his second. The first run is the better of the two. All right, here we go. This is Kyle Mohan, who had an incomplete run on his first run. The only rotary in competition, American Ethanol, Mazda Tricks, built to apex. Listen to this thing hum. There's an attack of killer bees coming into that second outer zone. This is do or die for Mohan, the menace. See the attitude of the car, and it looks like Mohan does put together a run, and we'll see him in a head-to-head competition. You saw the attitude of the car dip down there. Got me a little nervous there approaching that final front clip.
Well, the killer bee prevailed this time. Got one back after that incomplete on run number 1. And you can see right here, he's not letting off. Full throttle all the way for Kyle Mohan. Nice and high on the bank. Taking a risk that looks like it's going to pay off here. Gets that rear wheel into that touch and go. You can see he kind of slow rolls the transition back around to that outside zone. But just trying to get a score on the board here. You can't fault him too much for that. But nonetheless, it was a really positive overall run for Kyle Mohan. Take a look here again up on the bank. You can see that right front wheel locked up there, but it's right on that line, which gives you an idea of just how deep he was coming off of the bank. So great job by Kyle, not succumbing to the pressure and able to find his way into the top 32.
Yeah, good for him. I'm glad he got to put it together for him as we await the scores from the judges. And with an incomplete on his first run, anything's better than that because he will see head-to-head competition. A 70, 7-0. That's a 7-0 for Kyle Mohan. Puts him into 28th position as we work our way through the field of drivers. Mohan was 23rd coming into this round of competition. Next up, Dan Burkett. Sorry, Alex Hilbrand, I apologize. Dan Burkett is next. Don't want to jump over the Inca Madness Racing, Lima, Peru driver, Nitto Tires, BMW against supercharged V8 under the hood. Yes, sir. Standing on it into the touch and go. This looks like it's a little more controlled here on this second run. Again, so dominant in Pro 2, and we've just seen some glimmers of Hilbrand just really hit his stride, and this might be one of them. He has an 84 on his first run, Ryan.
Well, he had that solid 84 on run number 1. I think this is a continuation of that. You can see he's nice and high on the bank, and he got there from the beginning, pretty much stayed up there the majority of the way. Through the power alley, it's a snappy transition, right to angle, then he gets back on throttle, stays on that line that he was drawing from outside zone 1 into inside clip 1 and 2. And I have to imagine that this is going to play definitely with that 84 or better. Seeing some good scores drop online already, and taking a look at it here, you can see he was able to get a really early initiation, Jared, and then some of the differences that we've seen is a lot of guys are using that mid line and then moving up. He actually stayed on the high line, and so that should be to his credit there. So Alex Hilbrand, a nice run in run number 2, trying to build off that 84, and I think he's going to do just that.
All right, so Hilbrand, 84 on his first run. And a 93 from Hilbrand on his second run. That puts him into currently 3rd position. So a solid job there from Mr. Hilbrand. So like I said, I got ahead of myself as Dan Burkett is now on the start line. Burkett got a 77 on his first run. Rad Industries Next and Tire Toyota Supra. He is from right here in I believe it's pronounced Poulsbo, Washington. Now lives in Southern California. And here comes Burkett. Can he better a 77? Throws it out there. Really flirting with that wall. He did that on his first run. Oh, man. Big angle there into that touch and go. Holds on to it loosely. Doesn't let go. And around that final front clip. Right, not bad, but again, just really came out hot.
Well, he did a really great job saving that. That could have been a big mistake. It could have even been an incomplete, but he saved that and made it look pretty awesome, actually. Let's take a look at this again. Great job by Burkett. He's on that mid-high line now. He goes right to high, kind of stays up there. Tries to go as deep as he can. Now you can see he's going really long here, but then he snaps it back around, and he's able to keep enough angle in the car to make it look as fluid as you possibly can, given that that could have been a very bad mistake. So we'll see what happens here. Watch the angle as he comes off the bank into the touch and go right there. He snaps it back around. Looks like he taps the wall very briefly, and again, that's one of those areas where it could have been game over, but he was able to save it and make it look good. So he'll have a mistake for going off course, but he did utilize the touch and go. He was able to get back out to that outside zone. Didn't fill it completely, but nonetheless, great job by Dan Burkett.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting turn of events there for. I can't see. All right, so Burkett awaits his score on a second run. And it is in 81. And 81 for Dan Burkett on a second run. Currently puts him into 17th position. So he does better than 77 on his first run. And now we are in the top 20 drivers. Jonathan Castro from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Jardot Metaldom, Nexen Tires, Toyota Racing 86. Like I said, all these 86s and BRZs, or the lone BRZ of Dai Oshihara, proven to be a good chassis here in Seattle so far. An 82 on his first run. Castro wanting to better that. Looks like he's a little higher on the bank than he was on his first run. Quick little correction on the front wheels. Steering that sled into the second outer zone, into the first front clip, and the second. Ryan, does that better than 82? Man, got through that course quick, too.
Yeah, Jonathan Castro definitely using the speed there to his advantage, making it look real quick as he gets that nice early initiation, pops right into it. Mid-high line, starts to drift upwards, kind of stays right there at mid-high, keeps on the throttle, now down through the power alley and the touch and go, snaps back around, back on throttle after that outside zone number 2. Pretty solid line there being drawn from inside clip 1 to inside clip 2. And as you said, Jared, he did have that 82. And I think that's going to be probably a better run overall. We'll see if that can get up into the mid to high 80s and what the judges think there. We've seen some of the judges really rewarding these high-risk maneuvers. And we'll see how this goes for Jonathan Castro.
All right, so scores are in for Castro. An 84, so from an 82 on his first run to an 84 on his second run. Currently 16th qualifying position. So another driver that has an incomplete run, Dirk Stratton. He is on the start line. He needs to throw down here. Dirk the Dragger Stratton, coming to us from Ohio. Lingenfelter Performance, Achilles Tire, Stratton Chevrolet, Corvette C6. And we are sending car again. This is his second run. His first run was incomplete, just needs to get a score on the board. Let's see what Dirk's got here on his second run. Initiates at the, you can see the billboard break. Comes in hot here. He is flying. So hopefully he doesn't overcook it. Again, another driver a little timid there, throwing some flames. Tight to that first front clip, transitions through to the second. And it looks like he will get a score on the board for Stratton. Like I said, those guys that go into that touch and go beyond it, they're really nervous on their second run.
Yeah, it's a bit scary through there. It's concrete walls everywhere. And Stratton here gets a good start, an early initiation, mid-high line on the bank. But watch as he comes off the bank. His line is going to be pointing him down into the center of the power alley. So he's going to miss the touch and go. And he's not able to really draw a smooth line to that outside zone. And so for the remainder of the run, he's trying to play catch-up here from that bit of a mistake. Now, he did have that pretty decent score on run number 1. I'm not sure he's going to be able to build off it for run number 2, but he will have some deductions definitely for line.
He had an incomplete on his first run, so he's definitely going to build off his first run.
He could build off of it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
All right, results are in for Stratton. And a 77 obviously betters that incomplete run. He'll be seeing head-to-head competition with a 77, puts him into 22nd position. So trying to figure out what gremlins are haunting him between tonight and tomorrow. This is the AutoZone Throwdown presented by Rain-X. Let the bodies hit the wall. Here we go. Matt Kaufman. This machine was built to shred. 959 Ford powered S13 on Achilles tires, Thunderbolt Racing fuel. Whoa, buddy. Little pucker effect there. As you can see, stays in it, dude. Don't back down. Into that second front clip. Knocks it over from just being scared. That's an 80 on his first run. So he had an 80 on his first run.
Well, great job, Jared, by Kaufman to save that there. We've seen some pretty crazy wrecks going into that wall with the fronts washing out sometimes, and Kaufman initiates nice and early. You can see a lot of throttle here, and then right there he loses the front end. He's able to regain it, but right there he is very close to that wall. I'm sure we'll see it from the other angles. We take a look at the replay. He stays in, trying to give himself an opportunity to have a scored run here, but scary moment there for Kaufman, and a great bit of driving skill to keep himself in that and out of the wall. Let's take a look at it from that other angle if we do have it, but if not, great job by Kaufman.
All right, Kaufman again, 80 on his first score. So he backs up an 80 with an 80 on his second score and puts him into 20th position for Matt. Put him in a Kaufman. Next up, Matt Van Kirk, the Takeover Northwest Closet Creations S13. He is from right here in Marysville, Washington. See what you got, MVK, Matt Van Kirk. Van Kirk initiates. Again, a Formula Drift rookie this year. It's great to see some new blood. Whoa, buddy. Gets out to that, beyond that touch and go. The Achilles tires leaving a lot of smoke there. So you can see his wheel speed picking up past that touch and go. So, Ryan, let's look at this again here.
Well, we have seen a few incompletes for going 3-4 off this afternoon, so I have to imagine this is going to be right there. That's definitely 3, and it's probably going to be very easily 4 when we look at it from that other angle, just judging by what we've seen so far. But pretty far off there, and we have seen a few more like that, Jared, so I have to imagine that is going to be an incomplete.
Yeah. Fortunately for him, did have a score on his first run. a 73 on his first run. So Van Kirk, again, take over Northwest. Closet Creations as 13. Scores are in. So again, Van Kirk, 73 on his first run. And on his second, it's incomplete. But we will be seeing him in head-to-head competition. Right now, Vaughn Gittin Jr. is on the line. Vaughn Gittin Jr. finds himself coming to this round of competition in an unlikely spot, just given his background and you know, his vehicle. He is currently sitting 16th coming into this round, but him and his lovely wife celebrating and expecting a child. See if he can give birth to a higher score here. He's a 75 on his first run. You can see this thing, the attitude of the car, just three-wheel motion, really soft suspension compared to some of the other drivers past that first front clip. The Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR powers across the finish line, so a 75. Like I said, Vaughn and his wife Abby expecting a baby later this year, so looking forward to finding out what they have as Vaughn Gittin Jr. Like I said, a 75 on his first run. See right here, the car very settled. You see him throw a little more angle at it. It's a little disruption there. It looks like a couple tires off, but regains composure. Really tight to that front clip, transitions. Big angle across that finish line. Does that better, the 75 on his first run. All right, scores are being calculated. Again, we're now getting into top 15 drivers with our next driver. That'll be Michael Essa, who's sitting 15th, as Vaughn sits 16th in the qualifying at 82. An 82 on his second run, does better, 75 on his first, and sits 17th in qualifying. As next up, Michael Essa, another former FD champ. Michael Essa had a 77 on his first run. And here goes Essa, leaving the start line through the chicane. Essa Autosports, Achilles tire, BMW. Look at that front right, even smoking it up. Stock lock and ready to rock into that touch and go area. Let's see what he's got. Just barely dips that Achilles tire tread. Big angle from Essa. You see him have to make a quick little correction with the front wheels. Transition to that second outer zone, taking it out. And Essa ripping through the course.
Yeah, looking very strong and aggressive out there is Michael Essa. You can see nice early initiation there, using all the tools in the vehicle to stay up there, not as high as he can on the bank. A little bit of wavering, but really doing a good job being close to the wall there through the touch and go. Snappy transition back around, big angle right up to the wall. There is Michael Essa. Looks like this is an improvement on that first run and building some momentum there. Here he is going very deep into that outer zone, coming off of the bank, gets into that touch and go, and then throws angle in the car. And you can see the line from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1 was very smooth and overall really consistent. So great job by Michael Essa there in run number 2.
An 86 on his second run. An 86 on his second run does better his first run score of a 77. That puts him into 14th position. So Michael Essa, the gentleman, does better his first score. Everybody up in the ante here, doubling down on their scores. So an 88 is what Chelsea Denofa had, and he is on the start line. Hopefully bless the rains down in Africa, right, Pat? Passionate Pat watching from Florida. An 88 from Denofa, the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Let's see what Denofa's got here. The white lipstick on the nose. Whoa, buddy. Look at that. Getting gangster with it. Quickly the touch and go. A lot of confidence here from Denofa. Lifting that front left, front back, side to side. Woo-wee, Rick. Look at that. Well done, Chelsea. So does that better an 88, Ryan? What do you think?
Well, you know, the one thing I noticed right out of the gate is he really committed much more strongly to the bank, especially on the second half. You can see he's on a mid-high here. Now watch how deep he goes into the zone. He's really going to disappear here for a second, and that's him really pushing it through the very widest point of that zone. And then back around through the power alley, looks very clean, hits those last 2 inside clips. And overall, a really solid and aggressive second run from Chelsea Denofa. You can see right here, Jared, coming down off the bank. You can see he disappears into the wall, does not make contact, but really threading the needle there. And then watch how he's still able to draw a good line from the touch and go into outside zone number 2, right up against the wall there, all while staying on throttle through this section of the course. Perfect line through that first inside clip. And then again right here, back around, fluid transition there. So Chelsea Denofa looking strong with a great improvement in run number 2, I think.
Let's see. Great improvement, I think. Let's see. Again, we're not the judge. Then it is a 93 for Chelsea Denofa. Puts him into number 3 qualifying position. Or, I mean, I think he's kind of in the mix. There's a few drivers that are in that 93 realm. But, again, it comes down to, you know, your highest score and then your second score, and then it gets into a few different other criteria. So next up, Alec Honadell. So you can see, look at our Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard. Peter Visick still leads with a 96 and 94 from Osbo. Then a few drivers with 93: Denofa, Hilbrun, Dean. Alec Honadell, the Rain-X Permatex Nexen tires, Hoonigan S14. Operated by Huddy Racing. Alec and Huddy. As Honadell, you see some quick little correction there. Gets out to the touch and go. Snappy transition into that second outer zone. Big angle from him. And Honadell's known for that. Whoa, punted. It's good. It's good. It's between the uprights, that cone. As he had an 81 on his first run.
Really like that snappy transition from the touch and go to outside zone 2. Let's take a look at the bank here as Honadell enters in the bank. He's nice and high here, trying to get up near that wall. Comes off. And now is pushing through the touch and go area right here. Love that. Holds the angle, stays on throttle. Makes a quick adjustment there through that first inside clip, and then wraps around here through that final turn. And as you said, Jared, punts the cone off. Here it is again. Just goes right to angle, locks it, fills that zone, and keeps that angle all the way around, drawing a very nice line. So for Alec Honadell, a great job on run number 2, trying to build off that 81.
All right, so an 81 on his first run, as you just said, Ryan, and scores are in for his second run. That Rain-X S14. 88. It's an 88 for Honadell, an 88 for Alec. Puts into 12th qualifying position. All right, next up, Kenshiro Gushi. GPP, Greddy Performance Products, Toyota Racing Falcon Tires, Toyota 86. The OG original Gushi. Leaves the start line. He has an 86 on his first run. Speaking of the chassis. Yes, sir. Look at that. Bravo. From Gushi. Out to the touch and go. You see some hiccuping there. Takes out that black magic clip. Not 1, but 2. Across the finish line. So Ryan, he had an 86 on his first run. And does that better.
Let's take a look here as Ken Gushi, run number 2, gets right into it. Now the smoke line coming up. Nice and high on the bank is Gushi. Keeping aggressive here as he comes off the bank into the touch and go. Quick lift through that decel area. Slow rolls the angle into outside zone 2. Just a little tap right there of inside clip 1. And then Gushi's day is over as he tries to better up from his 86. Definitely smooth and consistent. Stayed nice and high on the bank, and that might be a difference for a few more points there for Ken Gushi.
All right, scores are in. A lot of smoke here from the Goosh and some Falcon tires. 89. So an 89 in his second run does better than 86. A lot of these guys mixing up there in that, hovering around that 12th qualifying position. So Goosh does better just a little bit. Seems pretty consistent. About par for the course here for all the drivers here on their second run. Daijiro Yoshihara up next. Comes into this round sitting 11th in the standings. Turn 14 distribution Falcon tires, Subaru BRZ. He's running a turbocharged LS under the hood. Let's see what you got. Slide or Daijiro Yoshihara. Very poised here. You can see the car just looks set it and forget it. Cream rises to the top here as Dai Yoshihara into that second outer zone. Tightens to the front. About that first hash mark, and second, you can see that Black Magic clip get knocked over there. He has a 92 on his first run, Ryan.
Well, he was the one that started us off in our run of 90s here. And one of the things that sticks out for me with Dai here is just the smoothness overall. You can see very little movement with those front wheels. He kind of locks into that line. The car stays very still, but still looks dynamic as he transitions there. He's back on the throttle, making it look very easy. And that final turn, you can see just blasts right through that last section, but keeps a lot of angle in the car. Here's him coming through the power outlet here. Very little adjustments. Really getting close to that wall in that outside zone 2 and carrying a lot of momentum there, but able to keep angle in the car and draw that right line to that first and second inside clip and then through the finish line. So Dai, a good start there. Will it be better than his 92? It'll certainly be pretty close. Let's see what the judges think.
And a 91, so does not better his first score of a 92, but like I said, his first score is a 92. So a real strong showing there. He is currently in top 10 qualifying position, sitting exactly at 8th, but we'll see a few more drivers still to put their score up. Now we're in a top 10 in standings. Coming to this round. Again, this is round 5. We still have 3 more rounds left. We got St. Louis, we got Texas, and then, of course, Irwindale, California, the House of Drift, playing host to the final round of the 15th ever Formula Drift season. Hashtag FDSEA as well as hashtag FDXV, symbolizing Roman numerals for 15, celebrating 15 years of FD competition. Ryan Turk, gum out. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 on Nexen tires. Part of that Blackout Garage gang as Turk throws it in. Works his way up the bank. Filling all that touch and go. Just want to hit it and quit it. Gets out to that second outer zone. And crosses the finish line. Ryan Turk.
Well, blasting through that course is Ryan Turk on run number 2. Let's take a look and see how he did here. Stays on a mid-high line after initiation. Lots of throttle from Turk, very deep into this first outside zone. Nice job right there, filling the touch and go, and then snaps it right to angle for that second outside zone. And then the last 2 S turns there are fulfilled pretty nicely by Ryan Turk as he closes his campaign in qualifying. See how he does in trying to better that 93 from run number 1.
Yeah, 93 still a very strong score. Can he better it? And he does not. So again, similar to that of Dai Yoshihara, does not better it. It just sans 1 point. So a 93 and then a 92. So still sits in right now unofficially number 3 qualifying position. So 2 strong scores back to back, 93 then 92. As we move on, another driver that was in the 90s and just barely with a 90 exactly is Matt Field. He is in the Wish Borla Falcon tires Corvette, the beast from the Bay, San Jose, California. Matt Field, here we go. If you build it, they will drift it. Field of Dreams, here we go into riding the wall. Oh, and taps the wall. Explodes that back bumper. The heat wave visual taillight goes flying. Makes some noise for Matt Field. No risk it, no biscuit. All right, so looks like we will get this cleaned up, and we'll continue with the action. All right, let's take a look as we clean this up, the Black Magic car check.
I'm Chris Forsberg, three-time Formula Drift champion. We're out here checking out some of the wildest rides in Formula Drift. This is Black Magic Car Check 2.0. We're here in Road Atlanta for the Black Magic Car Check, and I'm with my good buddy Dean Carnage Carney.
What's up, buddy?
Man?
How are you?
Yeah, great. And we're standing in front of his insane twin-turbo V10 Dodge Viper, fully race car inspired chassis. One of my favorites out here. Why don't you tell us some of your favorite parts about this thing?
Yeah, definitely the motor is one of my favorite parts. It is the biggest motor in the paddock.
I was just gonna say because it's the biggest.
Yeah, definitely the biggest.
Slap some turbos on it.
Bigger's better in America, yeah, that's what they say. It has twin 4088s on it. It has direct port nitrous, full built block, billet mains, pistons, rods, headwork and stuff. We don't have a proper dyno number on it, but 3,000 RPM with no nitrous at 10 pounds of boost, it made 900 horsepower.
So you're making like the power that we're making with less than half the boost. You're running turbos the size that Turk
And half the
runs.
RPM. And half the RPM.
Yeah. He's running 2 of the turbos that Turk runs on his car. Like, yeah, this thing is a beast for sure.
Yeah, so we have it backed off actually quite a bit. It only makes like 10 pounds of boost and the safest tune you'd ever see. Like, it's so safe. It could be a street car, yeah? But it's probably making in the region of 1250, 1300 horsepower.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Now, obviously, there's more to these cars than just the enormous engine. So there's a lot of fabrication in the back of these cars. And like I was saying, race car inspired, this thing gives you a lot of room to work with, which is what I like about it. So why don't you show us some of the things that you guys had to do to make this a proper drift car?
Well, yeah, we focused a lot on this car. We're trying to get the balance of the car exactly 50-50. So we're obviously putting back the nitrous in the radiator and battery in the fuel tank all back here. So we have it exactly 50-50 weight distribution. This car has a quick change in it, which I never had actually before.
Oh, it's nice.
As long as I'm drifting 12 years now and I never had a quick change. So this is like, oh my God, this is so easy,
you'll
you know?
never go back.
Yeah, I'll never go back. That's the problem, you know? This car was keeping everything super easy to work on and simple. So that was the kind of the thought process behind everything.
Yeah, looks awesome.
Thank you very much.
And then lastly, of course, the interior really shows off detail of a proper build, and this thing is exactly that. You got a fully blank carbon dash, a carbon center cover. There's nothing going on in there, it looks like. It's just only the necessities.
Yeah, actually in the last car, like, we had a lot of gauges and switches and all this kind of stuff, and we kept it super simple, really clean on the inside. We have the new AEM dash inside, so it has everything actually on the dash, so I have to do nothing. Samsona 6-speed sequential.
First sequential too, right?
The first time I drove a sequential was in Goodwood last year with you, actually. The very first lap I done was in a sequential there. So yeah, so I was like, they're sick, and I had to put one in this. So we done that.
Yeah, I mean, just once again, just fully race car inspired, just very clean, very simple, the proper way to build a race car. Like what I love about all the FD cars nowadays is how incredible they are and the attention to detail that's going into them. I mean, these are like some of the greatest cars on the planet.
Absolutely, no, I definitely think they are. Thank you very much for stopping by.
You got it, buddy.
And hopefully we'll be seeing you in top 16.
Oh boy, here we go.
good nonetheless. So we've actually started running for some of these done for the day.
Get out from there!
Alright, so 93 got his first run.
I knew that was bullshit. I know what you want to do. You won't do it though. You won't. You won't.
And it's not enough. So 19 more seconds.
That competition timeout. Here comes Peter Visek, the Candyman. What do you got? Peter does it again. Look at that. Oh, buddy, some wavering there. Looks like he tapped the wall. Shredded, bro. Into that second outer zone, tight to the front clip. And Visek. It's qualifying, bro. Pump the brakes. Chill out. A 96 on his first run, Ryan. Does this better it?
Well, Peter Visek looking very solid here, and you saw exactly what he was trying to do, up the ante on that 96. He's right in the pocket here. He's above that line, and then right there, taps the wall, gets out of whack for a second, but then stays in it. A heroic effort here for Peter Visek, and not even a wall tap is going to slow this guy down. He's already your leader right here, trying to add on to it. Not sure it's going to do it with the wall tap, but nonetheless, a very impressive run for Peter Visek. And here it is. You can see from this side of things, that rub. And surprisingly, he actually keeps angle in the vehicle. So he's going to get a deduction for that overall. It'll play a role in his score. But a phenomenal bit of driving there, saving the car and still making it look good by Peter Visek.
Yeah, that could have gone south quickly. But he is from Poland. He's going for that pole position. He currently is still sitting on pole with that number 96 score. He is from the land of pole. Do you like my run? Are you not impressed? All right, so scores are in. A 91 in a second run, but the 96 will hold his position for now. But we are getting an update. So, unfortunately, Forrest Wang unable to pull to the line. That means 2 incomplete runs for the Vapetasia Achilles Tire Energy Innovations Get Nuts Laboratory. So, unfortunately, Forrest Wang will be a DNS, will not start for tomorrow's competition. That means 30 drivers, so number 1 and number 2 qualifying driver will have the fast pass from today into tomorrow's top 16. They will forego top 32 competition because they will have a bye run. Next up, Chris the Force Forsberg, currently 3rd in points. He's in the NOS Energy Drink Nissan 370Z. He has an 87 on his first run. Again, the VQ setup is what he's running. Compared to previous years, the VK, the V8 Nissan engine. Nexen tires get lit up right there in that billboard brake. Forsberg. The exhaust note buzzing through Monroe here at Evergreen Speedway into the power alley, into the touch and go. In that second outer zone. Dials it in on that front clip. Putting the car in all the right places. Some firing off there and across the finish line. The 3-time FD champ, Chris the Force Forsberg. Again, an 87 on his first run, Ryan.
Yeah, like you said, Jared, looking at better than 87. We just saw Peter Visek's run not too long ago, so you saw exactly what he did up on the bank. He was well above that line. Chris is right there. Tries to stay deep as he can into that first outer zone. Comes up a little tiny bit short maybe on that touch and go. But he was still able to draw a good line to that outside zone and make it look very fluid and consistent here. So does that give Chris a berth into the 90s? We will find out here. He'd love to get into the top 5 if possible. And we'll see if run number 2 does it for him.
All right, scores are in here for Forsberg. 2 more drivers left. And it's a 91 on his second run, and still that still holds him in just outside top 10. So right now 11th position. 2 more drivers left. All right, so the Rockstar Energy Drink Nexen Tire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback will forego his second run as Osbo had a 94 on his first run, so he's okay with that. So he's foregoing his second run right now. James Dean on the line. He has a 93. James Dean had a 93 on his first run, and he will be our final driver. All right, so here we go as James Dean, the Wordhouse Drift team, can he knock off his Wordhouse Drift teammate at that #1 spot? Oh man, the machine. I shall defeat my own teammate, explode rear bumper. As James Dean around that final front clipper takes out a majority of it. Again, guys, chill. It's just qualifying. You're in the show, just thrashing the back end of their car.
These are competitors.
You already got a
you
93,
cannot tell
bro.
them what to do.
Pump the brakes.
Well, here we go. You can see James Dean already going for it right out of the gate. Look how high he is up on the bank, above that tallest hash mark right up there. And then as you can see, as he comes off the bank, hits that touch and go, snaps it back around, boom, right there. Hits the wall, but stays in it. Now wraps around the final inside clip, comes up a little bit tight there. But for James Dean, a lot of the points were rewarded or going to be rewarded on the bank. Here's that contact. You can see, watch the front wheels. It has a slight impact on the front wheels there. He has to make a little bit of an adjustment. Now remember, Peter Vincek had a bigger impact with the wall. He had that 91 from his run. So James Dean, is this going to do it, or will he stick with the 93? Let's find out.
All right, so also this will be our final driver. These are the live stream times. Local time is Pacific. So tomorrow, Top 32, 12:45 a.m. halftime show featuring our Maximum Drift cast of Paco Ibarra, that of Corey Hosford, the Hot Dog Crusher, and Sam, the gray silver-haired fox, Nalvin. That's at 4:30, and then 5 o'clock, Top 16 opening ceremonies. And we will not stop till we find out who wins here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is the AutoZone Throwdown presented by Rain-X. And the score, please, for James the Machine Dean, your defending champion, currently sitting first in points coming into this round of competition. And the scores are, for our final driver, a 94. So from a 93 on his first run to a 94 on his second run, he unofficially has the number 4 position. So that will be a wrap on qualifying for round 5 of this Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. On behalf of Ryan Lontaine, Ryan Sage, I'm Jared Dienda. We'll see you online, and we'll see you another time. Thanks for joining us out here again. The AutoZone Throwdown presented by Rain-X. Head-to-head action begins tomorrow. Send it.